The tax increase trend before I became mayor was upward in direction and higher than inflation. We turned that trend around 10 years ago when we adopted the same budgeting tool used by major corporations, performance-based program budgeting, or PB2. PB2 is a budgeting discipline that operates at the staff level and continually seeks improvements in efficiency. Our window on council into that process is with our annual budget direction. With this year's PB2 budget, we again kept our promise to keep any increase to the total property tax bill at or below the rate of inflation. This year, we've kept the town-only portion increase to less than inflation, too. We've been using efficiencies before taxes to fund our needs. In the same time frame, we have doubled the town's community facilities and increased our service levels, whether it's snow clearing or transit or fire protection or infrastructure maintenance and renewal, rather than freezing or cutting them. And we've climbed from 30th to first place in the Money Sense rankings as Canada's best place to live. It is also true that our property tax burden as a percent of household income is almost the lowest in the province, while our service levels are the best. About 3 years ago, the Institute on Municipal Finance and Governance recognized us as the municipality with the strongest and healthiest finances. Great things are possible when we work smarter and work together. What we must do to stay on this path is to avoid cost drivers such as population growth. Yes, in Ontario, it is provincial policy that growth causes taxes because for 22 years, the province has forbidden municipalities from collecting more than about 75% of the costs of growth. The province requires existing taxpayers to pay about 25% of the costs of growth. And because the market sets the prices of housing, no benefit actually goes to new home buyers. The province's approach only serves to fatten developer profits. Developer welfare makes our property taxes about 10% higher than they would be without this penalty on growth. The Government of Ontario said when it imposed this burden on us in 1997 that it did not want municipalities to be able to use growth to improve themselves. Stop and think about that way of thinking, if thinking is what you can call that. In response, in the last 12 years, we have worked hard to cut in half the rate of growth of Oakville's population. In August, the Premier said in a speech in Ottawa, and I quote, "My friends, we are going to grow this province faster than the province of Ontario has ever grown in the history of the province of Ontario," unquote. We are hoping for this government to fix the unfair burden on existing property taxpayers who should not be paying for growth. We're also hoping that in their ongoing review of the growth plan, they will realize that the province has not been keeping up with its duty to support growth with the necessary schools, teachers, transportation, transit, health funding, and long-term care beds and housing for seniors, and they either need to live up to their responsibilities or they've got to help us stop growth. Today was the second of 2 days in which I had the opportunity with the chair of the region of Halton to meet with key ministers in the provincial government, and I came away with a great deal of hope that they seem to recognize that this is a problem. And they were asking interesting questions about how to change the way we fund growth. And the chair and I agreed that this is a very important sign of interest and that we will be following up on it with longer, in-depth meetings with the different ministers with whom we met to follow up on some of our key concerns here. So I believe that we may be on the threshold of some improvement in this area. This is the right budget for our times. It's a pleasure to support it. No budget can do everything all at once, and this budget leaves some work for tomorrow. I acknowledge that. Our phasing of things over time and our steady fiscal discipline have earned us our status as the municipality with the strongest and healthiest finances. This helps make us Canada's best place to live. And I'll now call the vote, and I would ask for a recorded vote.